Forget trade barriers. Trump's top officials ran into Beijing security barriers instead, as Chinese guards repeatedly halted members of the U.S. delegation during the high-stakes visit. At the Great Hall of the People, Chinese security briefly barred U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent at the entrance, insisting he could only enter after receiving the proper summit security badge. Later, a security scuffle erupted before Trump's stop at Beijing's Temple of Heaven, with Chinese guards reportedly warning no guns allowed. Trump's camp was held up for nearly half an hour while Xi's security team and U.S. officials argued over access. Officials from the Trump administration faced a series of security hiccups during their high-stakes visit to Beijing on May 14, underscoring the strict controls in place around the summit. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent was briefly stopped at the entrance to the Great Hall of the People, where Chinese security initially refused him entry. Guards informed Bessent that he needed the correct security pin or badge before he could go inside, according to footage aired by CNN. The video showed security personnel physically blocking his path for a short time until he was issued the proper accreditation. After this brief delay, Bessent was allowed to enter the venue and join the broader Trump-Xi talks as scheduled. Separately, reports said another security scuffle broke out between Chinese guards and members of the U.S. team during the visit. One of the American officials involved in that incident appeared to be wearing a uniform, indicating it may have concerned protective or military staff. The run-ins occurred as both sides enforced tightly controlled protocols for access and movement around the events. Following their closed-door discussions, Trump and Xi visited Beijing's Temple of Heaven as part of the official program. The U.S. media pool experienced nearly a 30-minute delay before being allowed into the Temple of Heaven complex. Chinese security officials reportedly objected to a U.S. Secret Service agent entering the site while carrying a firearm. Journalists on the scene said American and Chinese officials then held a long, intense discussion over security access and weapons. In the end, the two sides reached a compromise arrangement that allowed the visit to proceed without a visible disruption to the public event. Trump's trip also triggered online debate within China about a particular member of the U.S. delegation, reflecting heightened public interest in the visit. Rubio was sanctioned by China in 2020 during a period of sharp deterioration in USA-China relation, with Beijing seeking to punish Washington officials it saw as driving a more confrontational approach. He was sanctioned twice, first for his hardline or hawk stance toward China, and then for criticizing Beijing's crackdown on Hong Kong's pro-democracy movement. The sanctions came after China imposed a sweeping national security law on Hong Kong in 2020, which Beijing framed as necessary to restore order after months of large-scale anti-government protests. Beijing said the law was needed to prevent secession, terrorism, and foreign interference, arguing it protected Hong Kong's security within the one country, two systems framework. Critics accused Beijing of using the law to crush political dissent and silence opposition, turning Hong Kong into a more tightly controlled space. In response to the crackdown, the Trump administration sanctioned multiple Hong Kong and Chinese officials, portraying the move as targeted punishment for alleged human rights violations. Beijing retaliated by sanctioning 11 Americans, including Marco Rubio, who was then a U.S. Senator from Florida, explicitly linking the penalties to his China-related words and deeds in the Senate. Sanctions were tied to Rubio's China-related words and deeds during his time in the Senate, reflecting Beijing's effort to deter foreign officials from openly challenging its narrative on Hong Kong and sovereignty issues. China helped the U.S. with a technical loophole to allow Trump's top diplomat to enter the mainland, showing that strategic diplomacy can temporarily relax the application of individual sanctions. Rubio's name's transliteration was changed in Mandarin, allowing him to bypass the formal entry ban tied to the original sanction character spelling, while keeping the sanctions nominally in place. The move has fueled online discussion inside China about the flexibility of Beijing's sanctions policy, with many users questioning how binding such measures really are. Donald Trump was greeted with a grand welcome ceremony in Beijing on May 14, with Chinese authorities rolling out a high-profile red carpet reception for the visiting U.S. president. China rolled out the red carpet for the U.S. president, with the People's Liberation Army conducting a tightly choreographed military march as part of the arrival ceremony. Subsequently, in the Great Hall of the People, Trump and Xi Jinping began their bilateral summit, holding high-level talks on trade, technology, regional security, and the broader U.S.-China relationship.
Let me say a few words first. And then I'd like to invite you, Mr. President, to deliver your opening remarks. President Trump, I'm very pleased to meet you in Beijing. Welcome back to China after 9 years. The whole world is watching our meeting. Currently, transformation not seen in a century is accelerating across the globe, and the international situation is fluid and turbulent. The world has come to a new crossroads. Can China and the United States overcome the Thucydides trap and create a new paradigm of major country relations? Can we meet global challenges together and provide more stability for the world? Can we, in the interests of the well-being of our two peoples and the future of humanity, build a brighter future together for our bilateral relations? These are the questions vital to history, to the world, and to the people. They are the questions of our times that you and I need to answer as leaders of major countries. This year is the 250th anniversary of American independence. Congratulations to you and to the American people. I always believe that our two countries have more common interests than differences. Success in one is an opportunity for the other. And a stable bilateral relationship is good for the world. China and the United States both stand to gain from cooperation and lose from confrontation. We should be partners, not rivals. We should help each other succeed and prosper together and find the right way for major countries to get along well with each other in the new era. Mr. President, I look forward to our discussions on major issues important to our two countries and the world, and working together with you to set the course for and steer the giant ship of China-U.S. relations so as to make 2026 a historic landmark year that opens up a new chapter in China-U.S. relations. I will pause here and hand over to you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Well, President Xi, I want to thank you very much. First of all, that was an honor like few have ever seen before. And I think I was particularly impressed by those children. They were happy. They were beautiful. The military is obvious. It couldn't be better, but those children were amazing, and they represent so much. And I know they represent so much to you. You and I have known each other now for a long time. In fact, the longest relationship of our two countries that any president and president has had. And that's, to me, an honor. We've had a fantastic relationship. We've gotten along. When there were difficulties, we worked it out. I would call you, and you would call me. Whenever we had a problem, people don't know, whenever we had a problem, we worked it out very quickly. And we're going to have a fantastic future together. So I really look very much forward to our discussion. It's a big discussion. There are those that say this is maybe the biggest summit ever. They can never remember anything like it. I can say in the United States, people aren't talking about anything else. But it's an honor to be with you. It's an honor to be your friend. And the relationship between China and the USA is going to be better than ever before. Thank you very much. Thank you.